Hey, internet friends, it's Wednesday, and since the Super Bowl was just a couple of days ago, let's talk about football. I'm just kidding. I know nothing about football other than the ball is not round and it's usually brown. Beyond that, I'm lost. I'm more of a Winter Olympics kind of person, so you'll probably catch me watching curling before you'll see me with a football. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. Today, I want to talk about coaching since we're talking about sports in general. Let's talk about coaching. And when I say coaching, I'm using that as a catch-all term for coaching, consulting, fractional executive work, you name it. Okay, because this really does apply to everything and everyone in this industry. And those of you who may know me outside of this internet world may already know this, but I'm sort of the anti-coach coach. And I'm kind of proud to say that, to be perfectly frank. The reason for that is I think that there's too many people in the world right now calling themselves a coach that shouldn't be. The reason for that is because everybody seems to have this attitude and this idea that you can study a couple of books, take an online course, and be qualified to tell people how to build their business. And I have been in some of those businesses that have hired some of those coaches, and I've seen the damage it does. When you've got some outsider coming in and telling staff to go through these ridiculous performatory exercises, all it does is widen that leadership perception gap. And that ruins team culture faster than anything. And once your team culture's gone, forget it. Doesn't matter what tools you put in to fix it, nothing's going to change it. Everything's going to continue to slide downhill. That's why the overwhelming majority of my clients are people who have hired other coaches and have failed. They've come to me spending $35,000, $50,000, even $70,000 and gotten negative results without fail. Because they hired coaches that didn't understand their business or how to grow their business. That's why I don't coach everybody, okay? And the reason I started talking about sports in the beginning of this conversation is because you wouldn't hire either one of the coaches from the two NFL teams. I know there's more than two, but the head coaches, we'll call it, from either one of the two NFL teams that were in the Super Bowl this last Sunday. You wouldn't hire either one of them to coach a Winter Olympian in how to be a better figure skater or how to be a better bobsledder or speed skater or curling or anything, because their expertise is in American football. So why would you hire business coaches, leadership coaches, and business growth gurus and experts that have never worked in your industry? I'd like everybody to just kind of sit with that for a second, right? It's kind of silly. It's like going to your nurse practitioner at your family practice and saying, hey, can you perform heart surgery on me? Who's going to do that? But the problem is we live in a world where anybody can call themselves a coach. And you would think that with some of the certifications out there and the clout that they have, that would resolve some of the problem. And it doesn't. Because the big secret nobody wants to talk about is that the primary qualification for getting a lot of these international and very respected coaching certifications is your ability and willingness to write checks that are 5 digits. Same with joining any of these coaching franchises. You know, it doesn't matter which coach it's based off of. I've explored them, believe me. When I started my coaching practice, I seriously considered going the franchise route, and I realized the qualification was whether or not I could write a $75,000 check. Well, not even so much that whether or not I could, but whether I was willing to write a $75,000 check. But I didn't want to be a peer to a bunch of people who had no experience and were trying to be generalists. You don't grow a business by not having expertise in that area. So when I say explore your coach and really dive into whether or not they can help your business through experience, That's what I mean. Because I have had people ask me what I mean by that. But that's exactly what I mean. I don't coach people who are making a transition from being professional athletes to going into the white collar world. I don't do that. I don't have any experience in that. I have coaching friends that do, and I'd be happy to connect you with them. I don't coach military personnel who are making the transition to civilian life. I don't coach manufacturing business owners on how to make their manufacturing process more efficient. I've worked in manufacturing, but I'm not an expert in that area. I work with people who are in service-based white-collar businesses because I've owned several of them and I've led several of them. But the problem is there's too many people out there who have a college degree, paid their $75,000 fee, and then come in and say, I'm going to make you the next Jeff Bezos. Well, if you're not trying to start one of the biggest retail web stores or biggest web data center providers, why are you trying to follow Jeff Bezos' model? It doesn't make sense. And look, no shot against Jeff Bezos. I mean, love him or hate him, the guy's a household name for a reason. But you can apply any name you want there. I don't care if it's Bezos, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Branson, Musk, you name it. Unless you're trying to build the exact thing they have, following their process is idiotic. So my word of caution and my little tip and advice for today isn't, oh, go hire Joe. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that no matter what industry you're in, no matter what your challenges are, make sure that you can find a coach that has experience successfully working in your industry specifically, not some generic coach that can pay a fee. And make sure that they have both the ability and desire to tear your business down to its most raw foundation, to make sure they understand what you're building, what you've built, and why you built it the way you did. Because without understanding all of those things, any efforts you make to grow your business, you're going to be building a house on sand. You got to have a solid foundation. But without that foundation, it's just going to wash away the next time the tide comes in. So hopefully this has been a little bit thought-provoking, giving you something to think about, and hopefully it helps you from hiring the wrong person at the wrong time. My goal out there is just to help you all get the services you need, whether it's me or anybody else. So with that, I wish you all well and many, many successes until next week. If you have questions, comments, if you'd like to talk about this more, you know what to do. Hit like, subscribe, comment below. I respond to all the comments. And if you'd like to reach out to me directly and have a conversation, you can reach me through my website at jpcoachingnow.com.